Healing. That's the one word that today's guest uses to describe what he's making happen right here in Statesville, North Carolina. Tune in now to learn more.
Welcome to Discover Statesville, the show that takes you on a captivating journey through the heart of one of North Carolina's most charming towns.
Welcome to Discover Statesville. Today we're joined by Tevin Carr, founder, executive director, and artist with the Insomniacs, and Capra Harris, board member and artist with the Insomniacs. Welcome, y'all.
Welcome.
It's good to be here.
Thanks for being
Thank
here.
you for having us. Yeah, it's love. It's love.
So, Cindy mentioned at the top end there, healing. Tell us a little bit about the Insomniacs and how that's the work you guys are doing is helping to heal this community.
Okay, yeah, for sure. When she asked me that question about what one word would I describe our company, healing came to mind because that's a part of my why. That's a part of the why I started the organization and why I've been so committed, and also why I'm so committed to doing this work here in Iredell County and Statesville, because I am committed to healing the fixed mindset or scarcity mindset that minorities tend to have in small towns. And as a beacon, or, I feel like a lot of times we may find one or two community leaders who have a growth mindset. And if they're not committed to the community that they grew up in, then that community can kind of like feel like they've gone. That's when you start hearing he's changed. Mm-hmm. He's changed when he hasn't, because Statesville made me. And even though I went off and got educated and all those different things, I've always remembered that the best parts of me came from Statesville.
Sure,
it came from Iredell County. So yeah, and I want to make sure that we all know that, and we all feel proud about being from Statesville and Iredell County.
Beacon, though, that's a good word too, Tevin.
True
Beacon,
indeed. True,
beacon's
yeah,
a good
true,
word.
yeah, true indeed. I
Yeah.
feel like there's a lot of beacons here in the city, whether there be community leaders, elected officials, and at this time we're in the moment where these beacons of light are shining, but they're also connecting with other beacons, which is allowing the city as a whole to shine in a different way. Just this is an example of the city being able to shine. My beacon of light has been able to connect with Richard Griggs and his beacon of light and his commitment to the community. And because of that, we've grown a strong relationship that I honor and cherish, that has allowed me to do some of my programming and parts of the city that it would serve the best. And it would not be possible if I wasn't as committed in my executive director role of my organization as he was in his role with the city. And it takes both of those things to make great things happen.
So Insomniacs, I love the name, but tell our listeners what is Insomniacs?
Insomniacs is the first BIPOC arts and culture organization in Iredell County, and our mission is to boost the artistic and cultural relevance of minorities here in the county, and we do that through 3 programs. One program is centered around the youth and teaching social-emotional learning through creative writing and hip-hop music. Another program is centered around, we get to this age as artists and local artists, independent artists, we become 25 to 30 years old, and you begin to think of other things to do and other ways to sustain yourself and express yourself. And we've kind of just committed to giving those people access to stage lighting and sounds and events, all of these different types of things that we typically go without. We're committed to giving artists access to that, and so that they can kind of, continue on. I feel like this is the marathon of the middle. When you get to 25 to 30, you're in the marathon of the middle. And if you can just get a little bit of funding, a band that's committed, sound system that's committed, or a sound engineer that's committed, that you'll keep going, and you might actually become a sustainable.
You got momentum then, yeah.
You got some momentum. And our very last program is Daydreamers, and that's just our commitment to, as artists, boosting our business acumen, for lack of a better term, and knowing that it's just not being a creative, and it's just not about talent, but it's also about understanding the business of art, and that's how you become sustainable. So it's a 3-program nonprofit, and it's all to boost the artistic and cultural relevance of minorities here in Iredell County.
And you're doing a lot of that in partnership. I think I read that you have your own studio, but
Yeah.
You just had a great story written about you in Iredell Free News, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah. Shout out Iredell Free News.
Yeah.
And Mike always feel like I don't remember him or know him. Anytime I see him in the city, he feels like I don't. Shout out to Mike. Mike wrote the article, and we had a really dope interview. And man, yeah. Shout out to Mike. Yeah.
We're gonna have to paste that in the comments so people can go back and read that too. But so tell us a little bit about your relationship with the Iredell Arts Council and the things you're doing there. You guys have a big show coming up.
Yeah. This Saturday, we got a show coming up this Saturday, and my birthday celebration, which is Dissension Day Soiree, that is going to be October 27th. That's a costume party. But speaking on the Arts Council and speaking on beacons of light, that's another. John Koppelmeyer is another beacon of light that if he was not as committed to being a beacon of light, we would not have the opportunities and the access that we have. He's a guy that I met with early on, just on inquiry. I just asked for a meeting because I know I had a for-profit studio and I wanted to connect with the Arts Council to try to get some of the guys who was coming through the studio onto the stage. And we met, and I thought that's what the meeting was going to be about. But since then, he's been such a great mentor. He's the one who actually encouraged me to go nonprofit and to organize a board and to take these extra steps so that we could secure funding. And since then, not only did he kind of lead me in a direction that could help sustainability, but he's also committed to allowing us to use that space. So again, if he's not as committed in being that beacon of light, we don't get the access, we don't get the funding that we've gotten to be able to sustain ourselves and to believe in ourselves early. So shout out to John Koppelmeyer. We definitely do a lot of work at the Arts Council. That is the very first venue we think of when we think of shows. We think of the Arts Council first, and serving that community and serving those patron sponsors, because those are the guys that we know we wouldn't be able to do this if it wasn't for these guys. So we definitely think about that space when we thinking about doing something in Iredell County. John's a big part of that. He lets us use that space for free, rehearsing. Okay, no, okay, my bad.
I'm just
no,
kidding.
Don't take that out. Take that out.
$200 an hour.
Well, the Insomniacs are a partner of the Iredell Arts
Yeah,
Council.
True indeed.
so-
Yeah.
But so I want to touch on what you were saying earlier about using the Arts Council space. And one of the things that I think is neat is, the facet of the Insomniacs organization that you were talking about sort of helping try to provide artists with sound, stage, those kind of things.
Sure.
I'll never forget when I think it was one of the first events that you guys had out there was that beat battle. Mm-hmm.
Yep,
and talking to a lot of those artists after. That most of them were like, man, we've never had an opportunity to play in a place like this.
For sure.
Which we look at the Arts Council now is a proper theater. And so to have a space like that in town, it's a big deal for a lot of people that don't typically have that kind of an opportunity.
And what we're able to do not only is showing us what's possible. We're organizing behind it because we see what's possible. We're making connections. We're being more committed. So just having that space, having that access, it is important because, again, we're not able to go into a space like that and have sound, a stage, lighting. Then it's video cammed and it's live streamed. Then you watch the video on the back end and the sound is actually good and it's good quality.
Sure. Well, it's got to change the whole vision of what you initially thought was possible.
Yeah, for sure.
Now artists can go into a space like that and it's like, man, we're talking about trying to put on a show and you go into a space like that and it's like, wow, the vision totally changes with the scope of what you can do in there.
True indeed. And I've had individual artists just from watching our shows at the Arts Council inquire as far as, okay, where are you at and how do I get there? And how much does it cost? Or I didn't even know that was here. This is downtown Statesville, in the middle of downtown. And there's a lot of things since I've become executive director. I'm just committed to being downtown and understanding the motion of downtown. There's a lot of things downtown that we don't know are downtown, that we don't take advantage of. And that's another part of it is highlighting and being those beacons of light to let our community know that we do have access to these spaces, and the elected officials have committed to partnering with us and helping our vision come to fruition. That's also the commitment. And Iredell Arts Council, anytime I come to them with an idea or a vision, they're like, okay, well, how can we make it work? And they're really, really great partners. We would not be able to do this without them. Our next 2 shows, this Saturday at the Iredell Arts Council, 7:30. It's Girl, Who That?
No.
Yeah, that's the name.
Yeah,
Girl, Who That Spotlight. Yeah, Girl, Who That
Girl, Who
Spotlight. Girl, Who That Spotlight. Girl, Who That Spotlight. Yeah. And we have 8 local artists that have never been on stage,
Right.
on that stage before, going to come and
wow.
present their
Yeah.
music. Right. And we actually have a guy from Statesville High School coming who's going to perform on the stage as well. So that's, that's
Just an element
serving
of
the
growth,
mission.
I would say.
Sure.
Yeah. Sure.
Well, and performing there, performing other places. You guys played a big role performing at this year's Juneteenth celebration.
That was exciting, wasn't it?
It was
on the
exciting.
list.
I feel like
we have a lot of things on the list.
yeah.
Checking them all
We
off.
knocking everything
real.
off the
Yeah,
list. Yeah. The Juneteenth celebration was big. We were able to actually sit on the committee and go to those meetings every other Saturday to understand the logistics and the background of what it takes to do a celebration like that. And that was very rewarding. That was just as rewarding as performing that day, sitting on the board and sitting on the committee and being able to hear those conversations and being at the table and understanding that we do organize. We just got to take little extra steps to legitimize ourselves in different areas. But sitting on that committee was rewarding. Performing was another thing that we had on our list. We definitely wanted to connect with Discover Statesville because you've been doing a great work. Like,
She don't even know it. Not even now.
she thinking this modern, she downplaying and trying to be humble, but I'm like, no, we were excited. We were definitely excited about being on the show, being featured. It was something we had on our eye on, like Discover Statesville there. Not only growing, they're promoting, they have a social media presence. You see them at the events. Yes, these are the people we need to connect with. And, when you guys reached out, I was like, this is why I do the work here in my city, is because it's that much more rewarding when you have the local podcast news station reach out to you and they want to promote you, whether it be free news, Discover Statesville, or what have you. But yeah, it's
Well,
big.
it speaks a lot to your positivity and the positivity of the organization that so far you've taken about half your time building up other people that you think are important. But I think it shows through in the work that y'all are doing. Talk a little bit more about the Hypnotics program. Because in terms of what you guys doing rewarding work, there can't be much more than working with the kids, I wouldn't think.
True
Most
indeed.
importantly, they're
True
the next
indeed.
generation, I would say.
True indeed. Yes. And we know we're, as community leaders and innovators, when we started the first BIPOC arts and culture organization, we realized that we're doing something big and we have to be committed to paving the way for others. And the way you be committed, one way is to reach down to the youth and teach them the skills that you've developed through the same art forms. And that's really what it was. I met with a guy named David Spellman, great guy. He's an educator in Charlotte. He wrote a book, Just Like Music. We went over the curriculum, and in this book, he goes through 12 famous hip-hop verses, and he teaches how these particular rappers that are pop culture rappers develop social emotional learning skills through creative writing in hip-hop music. So basically what we've done is we've taken that curriculum and expounded on it and expanded into a summer program for the youth where we dive into these verses. We teach them social emotional learning skills through creative writing. We give them hands-on experience in audio engineering and recording these songs. And we even shot a music video at the Bentley Center. Shout out to Richard. We wouldn't been able to connect. He set up the meeting so that we could connect with the Bentley Center.
Stop saying nice stuff about Richard.
Yeah,
He's hard enough to deal with.
That's my guy. So that's what this Hypnotics program is, and shout out to the Foundation for the Carolinas because they were the first funders of the program, and we applied for a grant through the foundation. They funded the grant. We were able to give the program to 20 kids for free. We got
amazing.
20 bikes sponsored and donated. Shout out to Joe Moore,
Joe,
who is
yes, he's amazing.
who runs development for the company. He got us 20 bikes to give away. So we gave away bikes. We had hands-on experience through ARPA, which was a grant we wrote from Iredell Arts Council. That gave us funds to buy equipment so that the kids could get hands-on experience. They were writing their raps and then picking their music. I had one guy who wouldn't rap, but I put him behind the computer and I realized, you're a great engineer. He picked up what I was doing just from watching me one time. And I'm like, that's why you're not rapping, because you want to be behind the computer. And had we not had that equipment for me to just move over and say, okay, move the buttons, push the button, let me see what you got, I wouldn't have known that he had that skill set. So the funds, the commitment, and I think because we've done that this year, we're able to see what's possible in the hypnotics program. I've even expounded it and expanded into high school, and even I'm working on a college course now to where creative writing and rap music, it does heal us in a way if we understand the education and we understand social emotional learning skills. We'll know how to alchemize these tools and use them to self-develop ourselves. I am a walking example of that, because I go from being executive and writing grants to writing music and rapping. And I feel like my music is just as edgy as the next guy's music, but when it comes to me writing a grant, I know how to write a grant to where it sounds like I'm pitching my business. So it's understanding that alchemy and wearing both of those hats is what social emotional learning skills does for minority people, and that's why it's so important that we grasp that. That's what hypnotics is all about. It's teaching it early and continuing it on. We got it at the Bentley Center. Shout out to the Bentley Center again. Yeah, and that was great because that was our first one. My first time ever doing a summer camp, and I wouldn't have been able to do it had Richard Griggs not believed in me. Eric Higgins not believed in me.
Eric's a good one.
Yeah.
Or you not believed in yourself.
True indeed. Or the foundation. Yeah. And I think it
takes a village, man.
Yeah,
Takes
a
a
village. For
village.
sure.
Definitely.
And we illustrating that. We're exemplifying that for sure, that it takes a village.
Well, I can say in the middle of our conversation that this is going to be my favorite Discover Statesville show so far.
Ew.
I was in the shower. I was in the shower and I was like, listen,
We're about to go record the best
I
one.
was doing my bun, and I said, my goal is that this is the best Discover. I'll fix him. Shout out to Honest Creative. He got me decked out. He got my
Yes.
earrings and my handcrafted. He's gonna be at the Pride Parade. He was at the Pride Parade last Saturday performing, and So shout out to Honest.
I saw that. That's great. And also a board member.
He's also health and wellness. It's the education of it has committed us to the growth, because we're realizing our areas of growth and areas of opportunity. So even as an executive, I'm realizing the importance of a business structure. But I'm also realizing how you should align your business structure that highlights the skill set of the people who volunteered the most hours and committed the most time to you. So I'm looking at BJ and I'm like, what are you good at? And he's always big on our health, making sure we're fit, making sure we're eating healthy, making sure our mental minds are, And I'm like, okay, you're a great person for health and wellness. Capria is just always on me about making sure that
Make it sound nice. I do my job.
She's always on me about making sure that my ideas, because I'm a visionary, but she makes sure that my ideas align with the mission and they align with the programs, and that what I think can happen, what needs to happen for my vision to come to fruition. And me realizing that, I'm like, okay, you're really good at this job. Like, you're really good at doing this. Let me highlight this. Even by highlighting and giving you a title, I've learned that delegation begets appreciation, and that begets dedication. So once I've learned business structure, I'm like, okay, what are you good at? And what would that guy be if it was a position? And you're already serving it. You're already giving me hours, and you've been giving me free hours. So if I, this is another way to get you more.
We are every day, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we know definitely got to get the operating budget, because now I'm understanding that you guys really are doing work that organizations would pay for, and I'm grateful that my members and my board have done so much for my committee and for my organization for free. And that's why I'm big on edification, because it would not be possible without Capria, without Amir, without Honest, Keenan, Joe, Travis, Braxton, it would not be possible without those people. I wouldn't. Yeah. So I got to make sure I edify my team and build them up.
That's amazing. I think, and we say this in a lot of our shows, that one of the things that Richard and I hope to do is bring to the surface the people, the backbone that make our community amazing. And you guys definitely are a big part of that patchwork. And so we haven't had a show yet where my eyes have gotten wet. And my eyes have gotten wet a couple times, especially when you say nice stuff about
Heavy over here. Where's the Kleenex?
So you born and raised here, right?
Right. Yeah.
Tevin?
Yeah. Born and raised.
Yeah.
Born and raised.
Capria, you too? Are you?
I was born here,
Yeah.
but did not grow up here.
Okay.
Yes. So
But came back.
I did.
Crazy how
Funny
things
how
be.
that works, right?
Come on, man. That's full circle. You can't write a better story than that. She was born in the same hospital I was born in.
Really?
It's crazy. You cannot write a better story than,
How'd you guys reconnect? I want to hear that story.
Greensboro. No, Winston. Well, Greensboro, Winston.
Yeah, Greensboro,
so
Winston.
I grew up in Greensboro, and as an artist, there is a decent artist community there. So there's always open mics or curated shows or just networking events where everybody can kind of, network with each other and just tap into making their art more professional, essentially, and getting it where you want it to be. And so I met this guy, Reese. He was a curator and he was trying to connect with artists as well. So he invited me. He came to one of my shows, invited me to his Wine and Rhymes in Winston at the Bodega. So I go there by myself, just vibing. Okay, I'm going to do this, believing in myself and all these things. And then literally what's funny is the only people that came to the show was the artists that were performing. So being artists, we want to make sure that we're supporting each other.
Right, yeah.
So we just stayed there and connected and just paid homage to each other and didn't know anybody in the room really. Maybe, well, V, I wasn't as close to her at that time,
Okay.
but she was a familiar face outside of Reese. And then I see all these artists perform. So everybody performs, and then 11 performs. I was like, who's this guy I've been talking about? Where's my list? So I believe it in my craft, and I need a producer that can fit to my sound because nobody else is doing this, that, and the third. And I was like, I need somebody. And on the night that I thought I was not going to go, because I almost changed my mind, I went. And there was 11. And I was like, okay, this is I'm supposed to be here.
It was divine.
You want to pick it up?
Yeah, because I was there for the same reason. Like, I wasn't going to go because I was getting down on myself. Like, there's nobody that fits my beats. I'm a neo soul R&B type of producer. I need an R&B neo soul singer. I don't know any of those people. And my brother, shout out Justin Hector, who's also the drummer for my band. He kind of encouraged me, forced me to go. He said, bro, you've committed to doing this and you've spent all this money on this studio. You got to go out, go to an open mic and find the people that, find those artists. I was like, okay, I'll go. V hit me up about a show in Winston, open mic in Winston. I go. I see Capria perform and she's just so captivating. I was like, wow, that's exactly what I need. Her voice was soft, angelic, soulful. I'm like, that would be perfect. And at that point, I was like, okay, after the show, you got to talk to her. You got to give her a free session. You got to do something just to see what'll happen if in the studio. Just see what'll happen in the studio session. Yeah. I sent her a beat. I talked to her right after the show.
Business cards come into play.
Yeah, I talked to her right after the show. Sent her a beat. She sent me maybe a hook back that she recorded on her phone. I was just,
voice memos are definitely important. Y'all know, just write it down. Don't let it pass by. You have to keep it.
I was blown away.
Keep it.
And that's Fancy Me. That song was Fancy Me. And that's one of the hottest songs that we have out. One of the most supported songs that we have out is Fancy Me, which is the very first song that we recorded in Sleepy Studios. And from that moment, I was like, okay, you're like my LeBron James.
Working together ever since.
Yeah, we got it. We got it. Yeah, we got to do it.
Yeah.
We got it. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. That's awesome.
And then
That's a great story.
Yeah, I decided to come to Statesville. And she just once you grow a relationship and a connection with the creator, you start to develop a sound. I knew the type of sonic elements that she wanted in her music. So even though I came to Statesville, I was still sending her music, and I would come to Greensboro to record her. Then the commitment just become, okay, I'm starting an organization. And the way we've been committed and what we've grown together so far, just, is just a example or small fries to what we could do. So, yeah.
Well,
Just getting started, man.
Yeah,
definitely.
I am
appreciate
so
that
glad
commitment she
that divine intervention, it sounds like, brought you both home back here to Statesville. And I am convinced that by the time you guys get done, Greensboro ain't gonna have nothing on Statesville.
Oh, because the
North
keeper the
Carolina.
band, what I'm saying, like what she was saying, she's right that Greensboro definitely did have a community of artists
Yes.
that had committed to helping each other, supporting each other, creating vibes and curating events that highlighted each other to where they could support each other. And I seen that, but I was like, you know what? There's a lot of dope artists in Iredell County. A lot of dope artists in Statesville, just as dope. And I will say that they're just as dope. What we don't do is we just don't organize like y'all. But what I can do is take this science, take it back home, and see what we can do with this same commitment. Now, they definitely inspired me. Greensboro, definitely Gifford County, shout out Greensboro, Gifford County. It inspired me to come back home and say, no, we can do something collective. We can have a show where I give 8 other artists the stage and I don't even perform. I don't even host.
Right.
I'm gonna be in the audience watching that show. Shout out to Young Warren. Young Warren is gonna host the show, and the 8 artists are people we've connected with through growing the organization. That was definitely, I gleaned that from Greensboro, and I agree that.
Yeah, make space for you, make space for others.
Watch what I do with it.
Now, for our listeners outside of Statesville and for people who might pick it up and listen afterwards, is the show with the 8 artists is going to be live? It's going to be streamed? Or?
It will be streamed live
Okay.
on our Facebook page, Insomniacs Incorporated. Will be streamed live on our Facebook page. Again, shout out to Iredell Arts Council because now we have the equipment to live stream.
That
You
divine
can go
connection,
on
right?
Insomniacs Facebook page right now and see Let's Get Cozy, which is going to be a YouTube series that we're working on. We actually got a Let's Get Cozy show tonight that we're going to do. But yeah, go check those out. Let's Get Cozy. I have one with me and Capra, with me and Honest, and that's going to be a YouTube series, and we wouldn't be able to do that without
Keenan.
Yeah,
Definitely.
for sure.
Amir as well.
So check y'all out on social media.
That it's
What's
gonna,
you guys got a website?
Yes.
yes, insnc.org, insnc.org, or you can type in insomniacs.info. It's
Same
going to take
place.
you to the same page. It's going to take you to the
place.
same page. You can donate to that page, see programs, events, write-ups. Yeah, it's all-encompassing website. And I done that website, so shout out to you.
Shout out to you.
Yeah.
Finally.
It's about time. It's about time. All right.
Insomniacs, folks, bringing healing to Statesville, North Carolina. Thank you so much for being with us here today, guys.
Thank you.
We're so
Thank
excited.
you.
Shout out Discover Statesville. This is great, man. This is what we needed here.
Thanks, Tevin.
This is what we needed here.
I
Some
appreciate
innovation beacons. The revolution is now being televised.
Oh, there you go.
I used to always say it wasn't televised, but now it's being televised. True indeed.
Well,
Legendary.
like Richard said, takes a village. So
Yes.
glad to be doing
We'll
it
see you at the Arts
together.
Council this weekend.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you for joining Discover Statesville. You can email us at discover@statesvillenc.com. Check us out on Facebook at Discover Statesville NC, #Discover Statesville, and our website, statesvillenc.com. Catch us next week as we continue on our journey to uncover the hidden gems, culinary adventures, entertainment, and to be inspired and enlightened as we discover Statesville.